Today's particular video, we are going to study about challenges of due diligence. There are so many challenges a company will come across while they are going for a due diligence for merger and acquisition. We will study all the challenges of due diligence point wise, one by one. If you see the challenges of due diligence in India, those are divided in various types. The first important challenges of due diligence in India is inappropriate revenue recognition. We are unable to recognize the revenue properly. So when you are unable to recognize the revenue, there will be a challenge to calculate, or there will be a challenge to make the due diligence. Because when you don't know your revenue itself, how much revenue you have got in the current previous year, or how much revenue was there in the prior to the previous year, or what is the revenue of the current year, you don't have a clear idea about your revenue. Revenue recognition is inappropriate. Method what you are using to calculate your revenue, that was inappropriate. And due to these all things, what ultimately happens, this will not make your due diligence correct. Your due diligence is going to give you sometimes wrong result, and it becomes a greater challenge who is calculating or who is involved in making a due diligence. For him it will be a great challenge. Similarly, the second important challenge is inadequate reserves and reversal of reserves, including inventory. So there will be inadequate reserves, right, in the organization. Due to that, what happens if some contingencies comes, uncertainty comes, then from which particular amount they are going to pay that particular contingencies or uncertain event amount, that is a question. And again, if you see the reserves for including inventory, that is also very difficult in this case. And due to that, when there is an inadequate reserve and reserves including inventory is very inadequate, the problem, or it becomes a greater challenge for the person or a company who are involved in doing due diligence, right? That has become a greater challenge. Next is improper cutoff and rollover impact, right? So when you see about the cutoff, whether you can see about the different types of cutoff, might be about expenditures, might be about your investments, or might be other reasons, other things also. The cutoffs are not proper, they are not done properly. There is a improper, or there is not consistently the same cutoff. The cutoffs are changed from time to time, from place to place. So due to that, we can see that there is a rollover impact. Every year there has been a rollover impact on the books of accounts as well as on the organization. So that makes a big challenge for the calculation of due diligence in India, due to the improper cutoff as well as rollover impact. Then the next challenge is unsophisticated financial reporting system. The financial reporting system, what is there? It is not sophisticated one. It is unsophisticated. That means it is not matching with the current criteria, or even if it is matching with the current criteria, the main important problem is that the financial reporting system is not giving you the entire thing of knowledge, information, right? It is including only few things, and it is excluding even so many things. So due to that, it has become a totally unsophisticated financial reporting system. Many companies, they are not following the financial reporting system as per the accounting standards, or they are not following as per income tax, because that financial reporting is not as compulsory, it is optional. So when it is optional, they have a question in their mind that why to maintain this financial reporting in that better manner. So it becomes again a big challenge for a company because of unsophisticated kind of financial system. Similarly, the next kind of disadvantage or challenges we can call is chargebacks, rebates, and returns. So there are so many things involved in the business, like there is a chargeback, right? There is a rebate as well as there is a return, right? When you find that there is a chargeback, right, the company is charging something on all the commodities and there has been a rebate and return, right? So these all things ultimately what they do is this are sometimes hidden. You don't know how much rebate has been happened, how much returns are there, how many chargebacks of different things are there. We don't know these all activities. So ultimately what happens if these all things are not known, it becomes a bigger issue for a person who does this, right? Because it involves various kind of problems, challenges, and it does not involve simple kind of things. So the next challenge is issues for representation and warranties for the buyer, right? So there is issue regarding representation and warranties from the buyer. So the buyer who is buying your product, he has certain issues about the warranties, about the different aspects, like the representation or some other aspects. Due to these all aspects, what ultimately it is happening, that it has become a bigger amount of challenge, because when the customer ultimately are not satisfied with the warranty what you are going to provide, that means you don't have a good quality of product or a services or some other thing. So it becomes a greater kind of challenges in calculation of the due diligence in India. Then improper cutoff and rollover impact is already a repeated point. Then related party transaction standalone issues. So many transactions we have done with the same party, right? Repeated transactions are there, and there are standalone issues. Due to repeated transactions, there are certain issues, there are certain hidden charges, or there are things which are not totally disclosed. So it again makes a problem for us to calculate the different kind of due diligence, because related party transactions are there. If there is like so many parties are involved which are different from each other, there we don't have any problem. But if there is a related party transactions and standalone issues are there, in that case we will be having certain challenges of due diligence. Then financial and restrictive covenants in agreement and legal documents, right? There are so many financial restrictions and covenants in agreement are there, like they are having so many debt agreement, or they are having agreement taken for the purpose of loan. So due to these all things, those all things will make us to do restrictions to go in detail about financial due diligence. The reason is many of the property papers are there with your bankers, many of the property papers are there with the debenture holders, financial institutions. So here we are not going to get the clear amount of picture that how much is the financial movement in the organization, what are the financial resources, because here there is a restrictive covenants in the agreement and legal documents. On all the legal documents there is certain kind of weightage, or there is certain kind of some amount is involved. Due to that particular amount which is involved, you are not going to do, or you are not allowed to do certain things. You are having your own restrictions. So it has made a bigger challenge of due diligence to the having a legal documents restrictiveness. Then implication of regulations, taxes and duties. So there are so many implications of regulations, taxes and duties based on deal structure, right? When you see about any implication of regulation and taxes and duties based on the deal structure, so it becomes a challenges, because the taxes and duties are based on deal structure, and these are not based on the actual things what are happening. So these all things are the major challenges of due diligence in in India and also in many part of the world. Now, next thing is the due diligence and auditing. The difference in that, we can call that due diligence is a broader concept, while auditing is related to only some of the part or transactions. But we need to see what is the difference in this. What is the difference in auditing and due diligence? First, let me divide up according to scope. As per scope, in due diligence, it includes not only financial analysis, but also business plan, sustainability of business plan, future aspect, growth, corporate and management structure, and legal issues. So it involves all the things which are required to do the business. You are not only doing financial analysis, you are doing business plan analysis, you are preparing the sustainability of business plan, future aspects, corporate and management plan, structure, and legal issues. So that means each and every part of your business you are going to do analysis, right? Each and every department, each and every part of your business has been analyzed in due diligence. But when it comes to audit, it is limited to financial analysis. Audit is limited to the financial analysis. So only about the accounts, only about your tax, only about your financial kind of affairs, investments, only those things you are going to evaluate, or those things you are going to analyze, because it is only restricted to financial analysis. Next, in case of due diligence, data. It covers future growth prospectus in addition to the historical data. In due diligence, we are going to analyze not only the historical data or not only the acquisition kind of the data, but also it covers future growth prospectus, right? Whatever in future you are going to do, those all things are also covered. As I have told you in the first point, it covers business plan. Business plan is for the future. It covers about budgeting, it covers about forecasting. So that means about future prospect growth. Also it covers the analysis. While in auditing, it is based on only historical data. We are not doing auditing for forecasted things, we are not doing auditing for budgeted things, right? We are not doing auditing for any other kind of business plan, only for the historical data, the data which has actually existing in the organization, or the data which is actually there in the organization. Only for that particular data auditing will be done. Okay, so the next point is mandatory. While due diligence is mandatory based on transactions, right? How many transactions you're getting, on the basis of that it will become mandatory. But auditing is mandatory. Like, see, you are going for merger in a company, you will be doing due diligence of only particular things which is mandatory. And if you want to do entire due diligence of a company, it is optional. But auditing is mandatory. You can't tell that I don't want to do auditing, right? You are not allowed to do, you are not told to do that. You have to do auditing compulsorily. Now, assurance. Due diligence will generally it negative assurance, identification of risk if any. So the negative assurance if it gives, that means it is the identification of risk. If it has, what kind of risk we are having, if you go for a merger and acquisition tomorrow, then if it gives any negative assurance, it involves the various kinds of risk, whether it is a financial risk or any other kind of risk. So due diligence report is going to tell us about the negative assurance. When you take about audit, it tells about positive assurance, like true and fairness of the financial statement. So our financial statement, till how far it is true and fair, that much it is a job. Like when we see about audited report, we will come to know that our financial statements, till how far these are authentic, how fair, how much window dressing is done, what are the false things added. So we can come to know about these all things if the auditing is also, if it is done properly. Next is type. In due diligence, it is required for future decision, right? So generally why they do is whatever things are happened, for that we are not doing due diligence. Those things have happened, that is over. Their due diligence will not have any role or any kind of the value. It is done for future kind of things. They are going for a merger, they are going for takeover, they are going for amalgamation, right? They are going for absorption. So in these all future transactions which are yet to be done, yet to be taken, there we require the help of due diligence. But when you see about audit, this is post-mortem analysis, right? Like post-mortem, when they do generally for the people also, whenever some event or whenever some death has happened, after the death itself, the post-mortem will be done to find out the cause of the death, whether it was a suicide, whether it was a murder, what was the reason. So for that sake, they do a post-mortem of the particular case. Similarly, here audit is also a kind of post-mortem analysis of your financial transaction, right? Your all financial transactions are over. They are completed till 31st of March of every year. After 31st of March, the auditor, the accountant will complete his account, and then he will give those all account to the auditor. And auditor, what he will do post-mortem analysis. That is what audit. He will study all accounts and he will give his own audited statement. In that, there will be a containing things like what are our accounts in summary. He will write and give us. Then nature varies according to the nature of transaction. So it varies, which means is not same due diligence. It changes according to the nature of transactions, according to the type of transactions. If there are so many other types of transactions are there, so due diligence will change, right? Like somebody want to go for amalgamation. For amalgamation, due diligence might be different. Somebody, some businessmen want to go for absorption. For absorption, due diligence is different. Some businessmen, they want to go for merger or takeover. Their due diligence is different. So based on the nature of transaction, type of the transaction, what you are doing, that particular due diligence you have to follow, and the method will be different. While in audit, the audit will analyze, always have a uniform, which means it is always be a fixed. Whether you go to any kind, whatever transaction you do, whatever type or nature of the business you do, the audit will remain same and for all the cases, right? The auditor will give you a report after analyzing. It will be same for each and every case. Now, the last point of due diligence and audit is, due diligence is occasional event. Occasionally, a person will do a due diligence, while audit is a recurring event, right? Why you do due diligence? Either there is some occasional event, like event is there, merger is there, or event like amalgamation is there, or in a company there has some major thing happened, like there is some fraud, there is some misrepresentation happened, somebody has cheated someone. So there you want to do a detailed investigation, so you might go for a due diligence instead of auditing. But auditing is recurring in nature. When there is no occasional event, it is like a common or regular kind of event. Every year you have to do a auditing. So these are few of the difference between due diligence and auditing. Now, if you see, the goal of due diligence should be deal making, not killing, right? When you see about due diligence, it should make a deal. That means there should be happening of a merger and acquisition, right? There should be not like a merger and acquisition should get cancelled, right? There should not be like a merger and acquisition should get cancelled. If such thing is there, then we can tell that there is no proper